My name is Pranav Gopalakrishnan. I'm a third-year medical student with Wayne State University School of Medicine in Detroit. Currently, I do my clinical rotations out of Ascension Providence Hospital in Novi and Southfield, Michigan. I went to Steppingstone School for elementary and middle school, which is where I had met Dr. Reef Philip Morse. He's super huge on, teaching students and just an excellent science teacher all around. And he has a passion for EPR and NMR. So at this school, one of the very unique opportunities that they offered us was what he coined the Smart Center. Essentially, it's a way for younger students, especially compared to when most people start doing research, very young students, to get an idea of what the technology is and have some actual lab time. Dr. Morse is a very hands-on teacher. I used to joke, you can't ask him questions because, you'd be like, hey, Dr. Morse, is this how, so-and-so works? And he'll just kind of smile and say oh, I don't know, is it? And then, you have to go find out. So he was a very hands-on teacher. It was, especially when you're young, you don't get a lot of experiences like that. And so I think it very much sets you up for that kind of academic mindset. Well, when I was younger, obviously when you're a child, the most interesting thing is getting to work with the big machine, right? But now looking back, for me, I think the scope and the range, because the technology is niche in that not a lot of people do it or use it. But at the same time, I was looking back, I'm very impressed by how far it can go, or the various things it can be used for. I actually, during my undergrad years, I was working in a biomaterials laboratory through my undergraduate college, and one of the PhD students, I think he was working with biomarkers, and he was using immunofluorescent tagging and things like that. And so he was asking me oh, do you have any experience with this kind of thing? Have you ever done anything like this? And I was actually, once when I was younger, I worked with this, and I basically gave him the full spiel that I just gave you about EPR. I don't think it influenced my career choice. It definitely made me a little more open to research. I know a lot of medical students and a lot of physicians as well aren't always on board with the idea of research, especially basic science, as opposed to clinical work or clinical trials. Doesn't really have the same appeal for a lot of people in medicine. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's a little harder compared to, it's not I know I did it pretty young, and so have a lot of other kids at Steppingstone over the years. It is very difficult. And especially at that age, I know a lot of it went over my head, but again, Dr. Morse is an excellent teacher. And so a lot of the concepts, even back then, started to kind of sink in. I do think starting earlier, you can definitely teach children and young adults some of the foundational concepts of EPR and NMR. I think it could be beneficial to offer it as a subset of educational opportunities. So especially at a younger age, a lot of education, especially at the younger levels, and even into college and whatnot, kind of focuses on memorizing this, knowing that, and you never want to be wrong, and you have to know this, you have to know that. It seems very cut and dry, and in truth, science is not like that. And so for younger students and people that are interested, I think the most important thing, and this is a lesson that Dr. Morse told to me very early on as well, is you have to accept that it's okay to be wrong. And more importantly, you have to be willing to admit when you don't know something. There's no crime, there's no shame in not knowing something. I don't think everyone needs to know the nitty-gritties of EPR or NMR if they're not interested. I think having a general understanding of how things are done in the world, in the scientific world, in industry, is useful for everyone, in the same way that you might not need calculus to do your taxes, but you need to have a basic understanding of mathematics.